points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast for the DBC.
Hello everyone, thank you for joining us on episode 12 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom, and Trevor and Damon are here too. Hey guys.
How are you?
Hello.
Good. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Things like a possible new name for Hollywood Studios, new tour at Animal Kingdom, a couple other things going on around the world. But Trevor is getting ready to leave for his vacation at Disney World very soon here. So we want to hear all about how Trevor is going to be, how you plan your trip and all the things you're going to be doing. And then also, you offer a pretty unique perspective from the two of us. Damon and I drive to Disney World, and you are coming from Canada. So it's quite a bit different than what we go through.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely there. So I guess the first thing I should put out there is that I am, there's a whole spectrum of planners out there. And I think Damon and I are pretty far on the opposite ends of the planning spectrum.
I think I'm there with you, Trevor.
Yeah, so this trip, I've been planning this since October of last year is when I started planning the trip. And that doesn't mean that, I sit there and go through everything on a daily basis. But we really knew we were doing this last October and started looking at flights and all that kind of stuff. And I guess that's part of it is that for me, this trip it's a bigger deal because we're coming from Alberta, Canada, flying down to Orlando, and it's about a 5-hour flight. So we're going from Canada to the U.S. It's a pretty big deal getting there and getting back, and I guess like a lot of things that I didn't really think about how big of a production it really is, but making sure that I've got luggage tags, making sure that I've got supplies for the trip, because there's certain things that you bring from home that when you're packing on a plane, you can't bring everything that you want. So we had to make sure that we brought the bare minimum stuff, but then also this time we figured out that there's those grocery services. So like Garden Grocer is actually what we're using this time for our trip.
How much stuff do you buy for your room? Are you like a major shopper? Like, do you guys like to eat in your room a lot, or do you like to go out a lot?
We buy mostly stuff for breakfasts. So we bought breakfast this time and a few snacks, and we also bought a flat of water because looking at the forecast for this week, there is the potential for Hurricane Irma.
Oh, I forgot about that totally for you.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're leaving when? What day again?
We leave Saturday. So we'll hopefully weather looks good and everything right now, but again, that's the other thing too is, flying in, this can...
My parents were there during a hurricane once. Yeah. It wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, I know that there's been a big thing that everyone's like, don't say it's not a big deal because it's of course the hurricane's a big deal, but they were there at one. So
yeah, and really my biggest concern is just making sure that the day that I'm arriving there isn't that we don't get delayed getting there. Once I'm there, if they have to close things down for a day or whatever because of hurricane stuff, that's fine. I mean, I get that. I totally respect safety over everything else. So,
there was that hurricane that hit. What was that, last year?
Yeah, Matthew.
Yeah, it was Matthew. Yeah, and they were closed for I think a day, maybe.
Yep.
It wasn't that. I mean, and that was a pretty powerful hurricane. So I mean, they are pretty far inland, and they prepare for these things quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So most of the food that we bought was, like I said, it's breakfast stuff. So like muffins, bananas, stuff like that. And then, we made sure we had some extra water and some extra snacks in case we do end up having to, spend a day hanging out in the room that we didn't plan to. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's a little different for us because we can't just, throw it all in the trunk and drive it down there.
Which is what we do. Yep. We have special containers that fit in the back of the minivan, like little boxes that we bought from Walmart, the snap top plastic ones that fit just perfectly in the back, and we fill one up with food for breakfast. We do the same thing, though. We do just breakfast. Mm-hmm. If I'm at Disney, I'm not trying to go back and eat lunch or something like that, or eat dinner in the room. That's not what we're doing. The only thing I would say is, well, I agree with what you guys need to do for water. What we ended up doing, like I said, is we buy a Brita. We buy a Brita and we just throw it away when we're done. Yeah,
and we actually have Brita bottles too for just touring around.
We did those once as well, because you're right. The water there is usually, not that it's bad, but it's just different than from wherever you are. So there's Brita with the filter right in the small bottles. You can kind of go to any of the places. But my wife is a big proponent of the free ice water. So we've kind of like, we've left that at home. We used to bring water bottles with us to the park, and now it's like, why? Like, we can get free ice water anywhere.
Yeah, those that don't know, you can get free ice water from any Disney quick service location. You just go up and ask for ice water, and they will give you ice water.
Yep, you don't even have to buy anything. It's just that they're more than happy to give out water. So yeah, obviously, like I said, that's a lot of the stuff that I've been planning ahead of time. As far as the actual trip goes, so this trip for us is kind of a big deal. The main celebration for this trip, and I know, Damon, our anniversary was back in August, but we're celebrating it in September.
Doesn't count then.
It is our 15-year wedding anniversary. So this is actually the same time that we did our honeymoon when we went to Disney for our honeymoon. So
makes it a little bit better. So you're really celebrating your honeymoon. You're allowed to have a button for that. That's okay.
Yeah, we're celebrating our honeymoon, and so yeah, we're really excited about that. There's a lot of firsts for us this trip. We're staying at the Polynesian, for which I guess a lot of people are wondering. Polynesian is our home resort, so we decided that this being our first trip there with DVC, we're staying at our home resort, and we're going to be there the entire trip. Our first morning there, we're doing a character breakfast in the Magic Kingdom at Crystal Palace. And that's more of a tradition thing that we like. We've done character breakfast with my son every time we've taken him to Disneyland. And so we like seeing his reaction to it. We enjoy, I know it, like, we could do other character meals, but we thought it would be fun to go just straight into the Magic Kingdom and start with that first thing. And then that same day is also going to be the night that we're doing Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So
you're going first night, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party.
Yeah. So this is a brand new, like, I've never done a Halloween party at Disney before, and I'm super, super excited for it.
I'm just going to stay quiet then. Probably my most hated night of Disney ever.
Okay. I mean...
So actually, you know what? So my advice would be the following. This is, again, I think I have some good advice here.
All right.
Don't wait online for characters. It will ruin your night.
No. I do agree with you there. I'm not huge on meeting a lot of the characters. If there's some, maybe I might convince myself.
We got caught up in the Seven Dwarfs with Snow White, which is a rarity.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, if I could go back in time, it was probably the stupidest thing I've ever done. And they closed it down, like, maybe we were 10 people away. So waited for close to 2.5 hours for nothing.
Yeah, no,
So if I did it again, that's what I would avoid. That would be my tip. I think everything else, the food and everything was great. It was super packed, like 99.8%, packed. That's the only thing. So if you go in knowing it's going to be packed, which I'm sure every Disney holiday type thing like that is, and you avoid trying to see Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, I think you'll have a grand old time.
Oh yeah, and I mean, so our priorities, I think, for this trip is, and I know you may disapprove of this, but I'm excited to hit up the candy trails. Mainly just to say that I essentially did trick-or-treating in Disney World, because
I am very approving of this.
Yeah.
Wait, are you approving of it because you've done it, or are you approving of it just because you think it's
because
awesome?
I love candy.
Okay, so...
Well, and there is an ulterior motive here, too, because since it's our first night, we're also setting ourselves up for snacks for the rest of the week. So
That's brilliant.
What I would say is that you are not going to get as much candy as you think. That's for sure. And
I've seen a couple of people share pictures on Facebook that got some pretty good hauls.
They're lying, or they spent their whole entire night going back in lines. I mean, I did it.
Yeah. But maybe it's different since you did it, though. It could be different.
It could be, but so what they did was a fair amount of it was in Tomorrowland. And again, I guess if you were the sort of people that wanted to kind of just line hop for a little teeny candy bar, I mean, I guess you could. But again, when I feel like experiencing of the Halloween part, I think that there's a lot of special food that goes on that. Again, food, right? That's my big thing. That goes on that night that I didn't find trick-or-treating to be all that magical.
So,
but I get what you're saying. Like, you got to do it to say you did it, like, right? Because Tom says something, I don't even listen to him because he's never done it, right? So when you come back and tell me it was great and you've done it, then I kind of say okay. But for us, like I said, there are some really good food things. The trick or treating, it was what it was, but I would say that I felt the same like when I went to Hershey Park. On Halloween, which you would think would even be even more awesome, right? Because it's Hershey Park. And the trick-or-treating was the same thing. Like, there's a barrel of candy, there's someone standing there, they give you a piece of candy, you move on, right? Like, Now, are you getting dressed up? That is the big question, because if you're not, that's the problem.
So I think we figured out we do have a costume set that we're all using. So we're actually going as characters from Gravity Falls.
Oh, so that's interesting, because we're doing that for our cruise.
Awesome. So yeah, what we did, so we're not going full on with it. We found t-shirts. So we found a t-shirt for my son that looks like Dipper's vest. My wife found a shirt that's for Mabel, and I got a t-shirt for Seuss. And then I also found Dipper's hat at Hot Topic, I think it was.
So hold on a second. So your wife's going as Mabel, you're going as Dipper. Why is your wife not going as Wendy?
Because she likes
you could just
Mabel.
wear flannel. But see, it throws off the dynamic. You can't Dipper and Mabel like
Dipper, Mabel, and Seuss. I mean, those Dipper, Mabel, and Seuss are always together.
You guys are speaking another language.
So it's interesting because we're going to do the same thing with a little bit of a bigger family, right? So
yeah,
I'm going to go as Grunkle Stan because I mean I kind of have to, and then my son is going to go as Dipper. His sister is going to go as Mabel, right? Because again, you see how I'm such like a snob for the particulars, right? Like, so since they're brother and sister on the show, only brother and sister could do that. So that's what I'm doing there. My other son has to go as Seuss because there is nobody else for him to do, and then my wife is going to go as Wendy because again, what else does she do, right? There is no other older female character. She could go with the lady with the crazy eye,
Lazy Susan. Yeah,
that would be interesting. That would be interesting. But I approve of your choice. I fully agree. I'm going to go a little more cosplay on it. I'm going to do like the full on vest. We're actually going to do puffy paint for the sweater of Mabel and things like that. But I think that the interesting part is that Wendy gives you the flannel and the hat, and I think you're kind of good. You could do the boots, I guess. I found, though, that I think you're in a much smarter position when you're doing Disney. I mean, we'll be on a cruise. Where are we going, right? We did a soccer team. So 2 referees, my wife and myself, and then soccer players from the same soccer team. And it was good because I was able to walk around and not get crazy. I agree with you. Like, if you went full vest and full this and full that, you'd be miserable because it's just so flippin' hot there.
And that was really what we were thinking, is that we wanted to keep the costumes as close to t-shirt and shorts as we could because, yeah, we're coming from Alberta, where it's about 25 degrees Celsius, which I guess is about like in the 80s, and it's in the 90s in Florida. So we need to adjust to the heat and everything down there, and I don't need to be wearing like a full-on costume and trying to run around Magic Kingdom and passing out.
And I feel like it was hotter because there was so many people. You know, like when you just get that many people around?
Yeah, it's just more.
It felt hotter. Yeah.
Well, and electronics and everything going on is it's a very hot, humid environment. So yeah, we got our costumes sorted out. And as far just going back to the trick or treat stations, I did actually look at a map for this year, and they're all over the park. And really, our intent is more that as we're going to do things, if we happen upon said line, we will stop and grab candy. It's not that, we're hunting
He said
for
stop and grab candy like the line's not 45 minutes. That's funny, Trevor.
We'll see.
Well, with all the stops, I'm sure it won't be that long. It sounds like when you did it before, Damon, there was only one spot for candy. Now it seems like it's spread out.
We also are not, like, it's not going to be our entire night that we're doing the stuff, because we also have the other two things that we're really looking forward to for the party is we want to see the what's it called, the Hocus Pocus show, and we want to see the parade.
Parade was good.
Yeah, those are two things that we're really excited for.
I don't think I saw the Hocus Pocus show. Wait, which one is that again? Where is it?
It's on the stage at the castle, and it's led by the girls, the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus. So
well, and Hallowishes too, right? You're going to see Hallowishes?
Yes, actually, that's true. Hallowishes is going to be in there as well at some point. I'm going to figure out the particulars of it when we get there.
Make sure you figure out to get some cupcakes. Don't miss out on the cupcake.
I have been eyeing up some of and I know you were saying that the food is definitely worth getting.
Yeah.
We will be stopping for snacks. I'm not planning to just eat, the trick-or-treat candy the whole time. So, we're going to check out some of this stuff.
Haunted Mansion was phenomenal. I mean, if I have to say, probably my favorite part of, obviously the Halloween was the Haunted Mansion. They had so many extra things going on outside of the mansion, like so many.
And I've heard that cool. It's like they've got like people out there doing like ghost actors and stuff like that. So we're, like I said, our intent is that I'm not going there with the intent of like, oh my God, I got to see these characters or I got to line up for this. I'm just more going there to just experience it. It's not. If there's anything where it's like, oh, this is a 45-minute line, I'll pass and I will go somewhere else and wander around. Like I said, this is just, I think because this is a new and exciting thing for me, I'll just be happy being there, standing in the park, seeing how everybody is like dressed up and all of that stuff. So like I said, this is a new exciting thing for us, and whether or not, even if we end up lining up for something for an hour, I probably won't be too upset about it.
I think I was also there prior to the new rule of costume. So does that apply at night? I don't remember.
Yes. Yeah. So
it still applies, right?
The costume rules still apply. You can't have capes. You can't have things covering the face.
Oh, no, not that. So when I was there were still people that were dressed up as Disney characters, adults dressed up as Disney characters, and I know that what is the cutoff, 13 now or something?
No, so for the parties you can still dress up as, like, you can dress up.
Because the regular park day you can't do that anymore.
Correct.
If you're an adult. Okay, but at the party you still can?
Yeah, but so you can do the full on dress up costumes, but they do have limits on what you can do with your costumes, because they don't want it getting crazy to the point where you're affecting other people or causing it to be dangerous.
So I can tell you that when I was there, again, prior to those rules being put in place, I saw some Cinderellas, multiples.
Better than the actual.
Not even close. Like, I mean, legitimately not even close to what Disney put out. Like, they were 10 times better, some of the princesses. It was ridiculous. And I think for me, that was probably the best part, is just seeing again, besides the food is always the best part, but I'd say the second best part was seeing some of these girls and women dress up as, there was a Cruella de Vil there that was just ridiculous. Just like ridiculous.
Like hours and hours of work.
Probably months and months of work put into, and then you're right, hours and hours just getting ready. There was some really interesting stuff there.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll let you know. I'll be taking my camera and I'll be filming while I'm there. So, I mean, you guys will probably see some highlights of what we see. And so, I guess you'll get a better idea of how much it's changed from when you were there. So we're still talking about the first night.
Just a quick question, though. So the tickets for the Halloween party, you bought those through DVC and got a discount on those, right?
I did, actually, yeah. So, when I purchased them, I just went straight through the DVC website, or not through DVC, actually. I went through My Disney Experience, because I set up my Disney experience that it's attached to my DVC account, and it automatically took the DVC discount off when I purchased the tickets.
Do you know what the percentage was on it, or was it just like a straight was it just a certain price ticket for DVC
it knocked members? I bought these like back in
That's okay.
April,
I'm putting you on the
something.
spot. I was just curious.
Yeah. It just knocked a flat rate off of each ticket. So yeah, I think I saved something like $40 on the tickets or something.
$40, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So continue. I apologize.
Yeah, no. So I was going to say, I mean, this is all, we're still just talking about the Halloween party, and this is just our first night of our trip, which, like I said, that's a huge thing. Going into the rest of the trip, our plan is to, we're going to hit Epcot the next day. The day after that, we're going to go to one of the water parks. I think we're going to start with Blizzard Beach, and the idea is that we're not going to be like, we're not spending the whole day there for sure. Like, it's going to be a couple hours and then go back and have some downtime, because we're also taking a different approach with this trip. That in the past we've been very like gangbusters, trying to get in as much as we can because we don't know when we're going to be back again, and we're trying to take this a little bit more relaxed. So we're actually like deliberately not going to parks every day, like for open to close kind of stuff. So yeah, we're hitting Blizzard Beach, and then the day after that is our Animal Kingdom day, which this will be the next big thing for us, which is the DVC party, the Moonlight Magic Party. So
jealous.
Yeah, and again, I have no idea what to expect for this. I tried to do some reading on the previous events, and from what it sounds like, it's going to be busy. They sell these tickets, and they expect as many DVC people to show up as possible. So I'm expecting that it'll be not much different from going to Animal Kingdom during the day. I mean, I actually think what may end up happening is that Pandora is going to just be nuts packed, because everyone's going to think that because of the DVC party, they can get in there and all that. So it's just going to be packed. But I think actually the rest of the park, that'll be a really good time to explore Animal Kingdom when there's way, way less people in the park. So
it's probably going to be empty everywhere else, I would assume. Are they doing a Rivers of Light show for that party too? So are you going to still be able to see that, or is that not happening that night?
So I haven't heard anything on the schedule about it. They haven't really given a lot of details on what the itinerary is. That basically everything that I've gotten so far, I actually got an email on Friday reminding me of it, and all it said was, come to Moonlight Magic on the 13th and show up at this time. Like it opens at like 7:00.
But it's the whole park though that's open, right? Not
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Animal Kingdom and Pandora is open. So it's like I said, I
would think with a park as big as Animal Kingdom that it probably, I mean, I don't know how many people they're letting in, but I can't imagine at any given time there's even that many people that are DVC members at the parks. I mean, at Disney World at the same time, where it would feel overwhelming.
Are they doing the same thing? Like, are they kicking people out? Like, how are they running the getting of people out? Because I know they've done it two different ways.
So my understanding is that this will be similar to the Halloween party, where you go, there's somewhere you go and check in. Yeah, so you got to check in, you get a band so that they know you're there, and then everybody else, they usher them out of the park by 7:00 kind of thing. Or is it 7 or it might be 7 or 9? I'll have to look at the times.
I'm assuming too they probably start kicking people out of the park earlier than the actual thing is, right?
Yeah, so we can get in as early as I'm looking at it right now. I can get in as early as 7 p.m. The actual party starts at 9, so we can't. There will be people in there earlier in the evening. But yeah, by 9:00, it'll just be DVC people. And the idea with that is that it's going to be a later night, but they're leaving the park open later for us. And I mean, it should clear out at some point. And like I said, my expectation is on that day, earlier in the day, I've already got fast passes for Flight of Passage. So we're gonna try and rope drop Navi River Cruise and then do Flight of Passage. So we'll at least get those out of the way. If we happen to get lucky at the party and get on them again, great. But I'm not gonna spend a lot of time standing in Pandora, standing in
those lines.
yeah, hoping that
I heard the lines again today on opening were 3 hours for Flight of Passage.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean,
I'm
it's
assuming
just
you're planning to check it out at night, though, right? At least just to see the luminescence and everything. So
yeah, we're definitely, and I think again the party will be a great time to do that. We'll come back, we'll have a good look at it at night, and like I said, if we get lucky, and I mean maybe just because of the fact that they're kicking out everybody else, maybe the lines will drop down to something reasonable, but I'm not holding my breath either. So it's good to be realistic on these things.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that, because it seems like some of these people that go to some of these events are not realistic, and they get very mad when they wait a long time for a certain ride, you know. And although, I mean, if Flight of Passage does have a huge capacity, you would think that it would be okay for that, you know, for the party, but who knows? You know.
Yep. Yeah, so like I said, I'm kind of going into this with very minimal expectations. So I'm thinking anything that does come of it is going to be a nice surprise. So yeah, it's going to be a highlight of the trip. And then so after that, so that's on the Wednesday. On the Thursday, and I'm actually going to double back on this, is that we bought the gold passes for the annual passes, because we're doing this trip and then we're doing another trip in May. When we bought the gold passes, that was a good enough deal. But then this summer, as a lot of people know, they released the platinum passes for the same price as the gold passes. So I actually returned my gold passes and the water park tickets that I bought, and so I saved. It ended up working out to about $300 that I saved on that. So that justified on Thursday night, we're doing the dessert party for the Star Wars Galactic Spectacular fireworks.
Oh, that's awesome! I didn't know you were doing one of the dessert parties.
Well, again, this wasn't
planned. It was a last minute addition.
Yeah, it came up, or we got the money back, and my wife and I looked at each other and went, well, you know, we could, you know, just save that and, you know, buy more souvenirs, or we had talked about it before, and we were kind of on the fence. We were like, well, why don't we save it for the next trip? But then when we got the discount on the park tickets, I was like, okay, you know what, we can do another event while we're there. So yeah, we're going to do the dessert party. It's going to be, I've done the Phantasmic dessert party in Disneyland, and I really enjoyed that. Like, it was a really nice selection of food they had, and it was just great to, you know, have somewhere to go and sit down for the fireworks. Or I don't even know if it's a sit down, I think it's a standing thing, but it's still somewhere that, you know, you don't have to fight with all the crowds and trying to find a decent spot. Like, they just have a spot reserved for you, which to me, I think that's a great value, because yeah, I don't want to waste half my evening trying to jockey for position for one particular show.
Well, and truth be told, you know, if you're going to do it for any of them, the Star Wars one is probably the one to do it for, because there's such a limited area that is really good viewing for that show. You know what I mean? Like if you go to Illuminations, you can see Illuminations anywhere around the World Showcase. But for this show, there's if you're not in front of the theater, it's pretty much, you know, you miss parts of it. It's cut off by trees and other things like that. So I think it's totally worth it. And I've done 2 of the dessert parties in the past, and they're always a good time. They're really, really, really fun. So that's cool that you guys are doing that.
Yeah. So like I said, this trip, and oh, sorry, I forgot to mention one other thing we have booked as well. We're doing a dinner show, which I mentioned before. We're going to Hoop-de-Doo Review, which
it's my mom's favorite Disney restaurant.
Yeah, and I know some people don't like that kind of stuff, but I like it's got a bunch of corny jokes, and you know, they feed you chicken and ribs all night, and I mean that sounds great to me. So we have that, actually. I think it's on the Tuesday night that we're doing that. So yeah, it's it's gonna be a busy week, I guess, but we're also not rushing it. So we're gonna be there for 8 days, which sounds like a lot, except that again, this is all new to us. We're taking a lot of time that more so than we've ever done on a vacation. Like usually when we go, even when we go to Disneyland, is that our hotel room and the hotel that we're in, we don't spend a lot of time actually looking at it. We just kind of, it's been our place to sleep and that's it. But this time around, we're really in between, visiting the parks and doing the shows and everything. We're going to make sure that we have downtime at the hotel so that we can go and enjoy the pool and just, walk around and really just experience things. Like I know it sounds weird because, people, a lot of people, well, yeah, I guess in my family, there's always been if you're going to Disney, you're spending all that money. So, you better be going and doing the rides and doing something. But I think this time we really just to be able to stand in these places and appreciate, the details and the work and everything that went into it is really what we're going to try and do this trip.
I had my best time this time just like taking a level back, like, notching it down a little bit in terms of running around like crazy, and I kind of enjoyed it, I have to say. So I think that's will be fun. It'll be nice.
Well,
yeah. So like I said that.
Go. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and the Polynesian is such a kind of widespread out resort, and there's so many things to explore there. Especially like Trader Sam's. Is
Wait,
awesome.
Are you doing the luau you said or no?
No, we're we're doing Ohana one
awesome
Tuesday morning.
One of my favorites.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, and the rooms are huge at Polynesian. I mean, they're gigantic rooms. And 2 bathrooms, too, which is awesome.
Yeah, that seems crazy to me, too, because also, like, this being our first DVC trip, we're used to staying in... we've stayed at the Grand California, in which it was a nice room, but it wasn't any bigger than any other hotel room. Like it was, 2 beds and a TV, and that was it, and the bathroom, right? So, I'm looking forward. I know this is a studio, so it's a very similar setup, but yeah, I'm looking forward to just seeing how much more space we get in staying in the Polynesian. And the other thing too is, keep in mind we're a family of 3, so anything beyond a standard bedroom is extra space for us. Like we don't even really need that much space. So
yeah, and those I'm telling you, when you walk in that room, you're gonna be like, whoa, this room is huge. Because that's what our reaction was. We always stay at studios, and we just couldn't believe the size of those rooms, and they're really nice. And everybody was super nice at the Polynesian too. And I'm sorry, it's Polynesian Village. I should probably use the correct terms for it, right?
I call it the Polynesian too, but yeah, you're right. It is Polynesian Village.
Yeah. So, but that's cool. So, and I'm assuming you're going to check out the bar too, and of course check out where you can get some Dole Whips right there, right?
I've already told my wife that when we land, we'll probably be stopping at the Dole Whip place on the way to the room. So,
well, yeah, and especially if you get, I don't know. Are there DVC rooms outside of? So we were in Tokelau, however the heck you sound. Yeah, and that one's pretty much right by the Dole Whip stand. And I don't know. I think there's another DVC building, but
there's 3 actually.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
But that was a really good location because we were right by the buses. We were like literally like a stone's throw from where the buses were. Although at Polynesian, you really you only take a bus to Hollywood Studios and
Animal
Kingdom, right?
Yep.
So because you can take a monorail to Epcot and you can take the boat or the monorail to Magic Kingdom. We prefer the boat, actually. I like taking the boat, but that's neither here nor there. But are you going to try to see like Happily Ever After? Are you going to watch it from your hotel like a lot of people do, or are you going to try to see that live in the park?
So actually, our this is kind of my intent, I guess, is so when we land. Our flight comes in about 5:00. So by the time we get from the airport to the hotel, it'll be about 6:30. We'll have dinner, and then we have to go over to Magic Kingdom to activate our annual passes anyway. So my intention was to just kind of wander into Magic Kingdom and see where we happen to be. And I was hoping that we could get there as the fireworks were going on. So
That's the best thing about having annual passes, where you could just wander into any part. Like, let's go to Magic Kingdom tonight. You know, all the other parks close by 9, 10 o'clock. Let's wander into Magic Kingdom until midnight.
yeah, and again, for us, this is something on previous trips. You know, we always had our travel days. So like our day arriving and our day leaving, we never bought park tickets because it's a lot of money when you can only spend 2 or 3 hours in the park, right? So
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So for us coming there is, we would usually spend our travel day and then we would just go back and sit in the hotel room or walk around the hotel for the first night and then really get started the next day. But yeah, this time it's going to be, we land, we go to the hotel. The other thing too is I'm using the Magical Express and I got luggage tags for my trip. For anyone that hasn't done this before, basically what it means is that when you drop off your luggage, when you get to the airport, when you land in Orlando, Disney actually picks up your luggage and they take it straight to your hotel room. So I don't have to actually stop and get luggage or anything. I just go get on the bus, go to the hotel. My luggage will show up there, within a couple hours. So since I'm waiting for my luggage anyway, we figured, hey, let's get on the monorail, go over to Magic Kingdom, get all of our annual passes and everything sorted out, and then just walk into the park and see where we end up.
That's the way to do it. So you mentioned Ohana and a couple other, the breakfast. What other restaurants are you doing besides Hoop-Dee-Doo and Ohana? And just out of curiosity, because I'm a big restaurant person, I like to go to all the restaurants. So.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I feel like we've already got so much booked, but the only other one that we booked is, so the same night that we're doing the Star Wars dessert party, I think, or I don't know if I mentioned this, but we're doing the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater as well. So because that's in Hollywood Studios, we're going to eat at Sci-Fi and then do the dessert party afterwards.
That's awesome. I love that restaurant. Have you eaten there before?
We did it on our honeymoon, so it's been a while.
Well, they just changed the menu up there, actually. Like, literally, I think it was like the first week of it when I was there, and the new menu's really good there. So,
oh, good.
Because before it was always like, well, you go there for the atmosphere, the food's whatever. But they redid the whole menu there, and it's really good now. So that's definitely a good one. So the other nights, are you just going to kind of play it by ear, or are you just going to try to get into places, or just snack around, or quick service, or just out of curiosity?
I think a lot of it is going to be quick service and just kind of seeing where we are. Our Epcot day, we're going to stop for meals, but Food and Wine Festival is also going on when we're there, which there's a lot of places set up with like stuff from all over the place, right? So
there's some really good stuff. You have to do the Hawaiian pork sliders, or just and the soup, right? Isn't that where the dumb soup is?
The dumb soup? What?
The dumb soup.
Are you talking about the Canadian soup?
It's probably some of the best soup I've ever had.
I'm actually making that tomorrow, because
but that's in Food and Wine, right? That's not regularly there, correct?
Well, no, you can get the cheese soup at Le Cellier.
Yes,
but they have a thing set up for Food and Wine for one of the places is selling cheese soup as well.
Yeah. It's good.
So I mean, the idea is that like Tom said, is there's going to be some sampling going on around there. So we'll just kind of see what we get. I'm totally fine with, if we don't have restaurants booked, we'll probably just stop and hit.
Dude, just walk in. They let you do that with no reservations, I heard. You can just walk in. They're pretty good. They're pretty good about that.
I'll explain to my 9-year-old why we're waiting an hour and a half to eat.
No waiting. Like I said, they let us right in. I'm telling you. You just have to ask real nice.
And have the special birthday button.
The golden birthday. See, they're not going to let you pass because it's really not your anniversary. You can't do that.
But it's my honeymoon, so
yeah, maybe
you could probably go to somewhere in Canada and just do the secret Canadian handshake, and they'll let you in.
That's true.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'll just give them the wink, and they'll know.
That's all you got to do, right?
Yeah. So like I said, I feel like this trip we have a lot planned, but at the same time I'm also not rushing it. So it feels like a weird balance, right? Like I'm not planning everything down to the minute, and there'll be plenty of time for just kind of wandering and seeing where things go, but we also have some things that we definitely wanted to do, and I mean, I'm hoping that, that that things just work out and we get, a good experience through these things. But, even if like the Halloween party doesn't go the way we want or whatever, I'm not going to write off the entire trip for one night. So
yeah, exactly. And I'm assuming you're gonna exercise a lot of those DVC perks that you now have access to, discounts and lounge and all that good stuff.
I will be waving my card everywhere.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, but it's between that and the annual pass, I will be asking everywhere I go, do you take or do you accept discount cards for whatever it is?
For whichever one, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you might as well use it, right? Like even Damon, you said yourself you were surprised how much money you saved on your trip.
I really was. Like I said, I mean, it saved us, a fair amount of money that we were able to use to, do more stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And this may end up turning into some other impromptu thing that we decide to do on our trip.
It's not like that money ever came back out of Disney, right?
Yeah.
Just because I saved it just meant I spent it somewhere else.
Went right back in. That's what they're banking on. That's what they expect you to do, right? Spend it right back in the parks.
Yep. And I know, like, my wife has been eyeing up some of the purses and stuff, so yeah.
Mine is always the Alex and Ani bracelets. I don't know if you guys know about those, but my wife very much likes those, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I've pretty much covered everything we're doing on the trip, or what I'm hoping we're going to do. So yeah, I'll definitely let everyone know how we fared when we get back, and I mean I'll be recording a lot of it just for myself, but there may be a highlights video at some point after I get back of things that went on.
So am I next after Trevor? Am I the next Disney vacation after Trevor?
Yeah, so it's probably, well, although my wife yesterday was trying to tell me that we should go in November for a long weekend, and I was like, what?
Well, I'll be there in October because the cruise. So I'll be there for the cruise as well.
So wait, are you doing parks when you do the cruise too, or are you just doing
I don't think so.
Okay.
I tell you, I don't think so because I was just there. But like, I'm really going to be there at Halloween on that cruise. It'll be interesting. So we'll have to talk about that next time.
Yeah, that sounds like that's a real unique thing to be on a cruise at Halloween.
Yes. So that will be interesting. So that's next on the list. So stay tuned for next time.
Trevor, I'd love to know the one thing you're most excited for.
Oh my gosh.
I know it's a tough question because you're excited for a lot of this. I know the anticipation's probably killing you too because you're less than a week away at this point too. So
yeah, I don't know. I have 3 days of work this week and I don't know how I'm going to function. Oh, geez. Let me think for a second here.
You'll probably just keep checking your plans. You'll do what I do, is just check your plans over and over. Look at what you're doing on each day. Look at your fast
You got to wing it. No, you just wing it. You hope for the best and you just wing it.
Well, no, we're just talking about what we do leading up to the trip because I don't want to, think about work or anything.
I have a very difficult... The biggest problem that I have for any vacation, Disney included, is just the packing portion. Not that I am involved in it at all, because I'm not. My wife does all the packing. I try to pack my own stuff. It never works out. I mean, there's been times where, I go down there, and I think this trip, I don't know if I mentioned, I get there, I open the suitcase, and I'm like, who packed these 5 shirts? I hate these shirts. I hate all these shirts. Why did they end? So, again, packing is usually the biggest thing. So I usually just annoy myself with packing. So I don't really think about the trip. I just think about packing.
We've already started packing, or we've been packing for over a week now. Because,
oh my goodness.
Well, but again, the
You're
thing
coming from a different country, yeah.
Yeah, the difference is that like what we do is we pack everything, and then we have we go over the list and we find out what stuff we're missing. We got to go shopping and pick up, and then we kind of review the list again to make sure that we haven't forgotten anything.
Funny.
Because
I keep notes as well. That's the one thing I do for packing is I write myself little lists of. Don't forget sunglasses. Remember the time we had to buy sunglasses for the kids and it cost so much money?
Yeah.
Don't forget this because we forgot one time.
And for us, every item we forget, we have to pay basically an extra 25 cents on the dollar to replace the item when we're down there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're pretty intent on making sure that we've got everything that we need. But back to your question, Tom, about the thing that I'm anticipating the most. I guess my head keeps going to. I think I just want to stand in the Polynesian. Honestly, like just
stand in the lobby and like look around and
yeah, like just that initial, just that initial reaction. That's what I want the most right now. Is like I've seen videos and I know how it's laid out and everything, but just that first time walking through the door and.
Wait, do you know where you're staying in May? Or not yet?
We've tentatively booked the Polynesian just because we're still. I thought.
Okay, that's what I was curious. Okay.
Yeah, we're not quite at the 7-month mark yet, so we haven't looked at where else we want to stay yet.
So this experience of you going to the Polynesian and walking in for the first time may make you want to go there again, right? Like, I mean, that's
it's entirely possible. So, I mean, and the nice thing is because it's our home resort. Since I've already booked it for our May trip, if I decide I don't want to change it, then we're good. But I still have the option to see if we want to explore somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about DVC, right? And that'll be the nice thing is that it'll be your first time as an owner there, and it feels kind of different almost,
mm-hmm.
And for anybody listening that's not a DVC owner, it's not meant to sound snobby or anything like that. I promise. It's just more of it just feels a little bit different because you're like I own a piece of this, and you feel like you're home. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Trevor? I'm sorry.
I said it's exciting. It's like I said that this trip is just so much new for us that I can't quite wrap my head around how much stuff we're doing. Yeah.
Is this the first time your son has been to Disney World?
This is his first trip to Disney World. Which
that's special too, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't fully grasp. Like he's excited. He's been telling us the last couple of days that he can't wait, but he knows Disneyland, and I know you guys haven't been to Disneyland, but there's a definite scale difference. Like Disneyland
much smaller, right?
Yeah, it's very compact, and Disney World is just massive, and I think when we get there, he's gonna have a few mind-blowing moments, which I can't wait to see.
Oh yeah, because I've heard that from so many people too. It's just like you just don't realize the scale of Disney, and I've always heard too that people are there that are habitual like Disney World people. When they go to Disneyland, they're like, "What? This place is tiny." Like it's just it just feels so different. And so one of these days, I'll get myself out to Disneyland and really be able to see that. So, anything else you want to mention before we move on to other things?
No, I think I'm counting down the clock right now, so I'm ready to go. Awesome.
Yeah. Well, one place you won't be able to visit, and I'm not going to lie, I want to talk about this just to make Damon angry.
What's going to make me angry?
Is and thank you, Trevor, for all that. But is the Slinky Dog roller coaster
stupid? It's just stupid.
Did you see the video that they posted?
Looks awesome.
Yeah.
So have they shown us anything about the cars squinching and opening up like a real Slinky? Because until that happens, I don't care. It's just a coaster that could be the Goofy Barnstormer. That's a little bit longer.
So
if they make them open and close like something cool like that, like a real Slinky, okay, I'm on board then.
The video, all the video showed was literally the truck with the Slinky Dog coaster on it driving into
exactly.
Disney. So yeah, we don't know anything yet, but I mean, just the fact that it's there.
Nah, if it doesn't do something special again, and I was the Dwarf Mine ride. Here's the best part about that for me: are the jewels that are stuck in the wall. Awesome, right? I think that. Again, that was the cool part of that ride. The swinging cars, stupid. Like, this doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't add anything. If they spun around and flipped over, like, yeah, okay, maybe that would be kind of cool. But again, unless this Slinky coaster does something crazy, which it's a family ride, I don't see it doing too much crazy. Yeah, I don't really care.
I don't know. Seeing it and seeing how themed it was and looking like Slinky Dog, and then like it even like having like a little overhead part where the metal pieces were for Slinky. I don't know. It got me a little more excited about the land.
It has a tunnel, doesn't it?
It does. It goes underground at one point under like a bridge. It looks like, from what I can tell. But it looks like they're making really fast progress on Toy Story Land. I'm almost wondering...
When you have crappy rides, it's easy to do them fast.
Well, I think that... And again, I know that this isn't always your thing, Damon, is that I don't even necessarily need all the crazy stuff or any unique mechanic to a coaster, but sometimes just like, getting on something that has a view of the entire park is good for me.
Is it going to be that tall? It's not going to have a view of the whole entire park.
Well,
it's going to have a view of Toy Story Land.
But that's what I mean is that, when you're talking about like, really getting an appreciation for the design of an area and the fact that Disney is really trying to, make these better themed lands, I think it'll be good for that. It's not going to be like a top tier, like, oh my God, like competing with Star Wars thing, but it'll be a good, I want to almost put it on the same level as kind of like Big Thunder Mountain. Like Big Thunder Mountain's it's not the showstopper at Disney or at Magic Kingdom, but it's a good, like, you get up on there, you can kind of see everything around you. And
I would agree, but you're also looking at a bigger park. That's number one, right? So this is going to be a smaller portion because they're not going to let you see outside of the land, right? And these lands are smaller than I think you would think, right? But here's my question.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a great question. So if you were to take Thunder Mountain, is it going to be as exciting as that or not as exciting? So that's the question. Do you think it's going to be on the level of, speed, corners, thrilling? Will it be as thrilling as that, you think, or no?
It's tough to know. I mean...
No, I'm asking for a guess, right? I'm just asking a guess.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they put out like a video, like a ride-on video of it, but it's kind of hard to tell that the speed's going to be... It does look like it banks decently, and like just based on looking at the track, it does look like it does a lot.
Or is it just a longer barnstormer?
I don't know. I just don't see it that way. It looks like it does a lot more to me than Barnstormer does. It's got a lot of interesting turns to it, and a lot of goes through the scenery, like Trevor's saying. Where you're really going around the entire park. You're kind of going in and out of the different places. All around Toy Story Land.
And I could, again, my mind could be totally changed again. The river ride for me, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I don't think I would have gotten on the podcast and said that beforehand, but I'm definitely willing to admit that I enjoyed that far more than I thought. Actually, far more than most people do, because all I hear is complaints about it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. So if I go on this dumb ride and it seems to be interesting, I'll say that it was good, but I just don't see it at this point.
Well, like I said, I just put that, on our topics to talk about because I wanted to piss you off, Damon. So
it never pisses me off because the way I look at it is that whatever my opinion happens to be of it after I'm done, I mean, right or wrong, it is what it is at the end of the day.
It is what it is, right?
And to be fair, I mean, your point is definitely valid. Is that a lot of things don't always. They either sound better on paper or they sound like they don't work on paper. But then, until you see it in reality. The Barnstormer hurts me a little bit because, again, if there was no Barnstormer, and this is going to sound kind of weird, but let's just say Barnstormer didn't exist because, again, while I don't think that you guys, I don't know, maybe you would agree with this, the new Fantasyland introduction was probably one of the worst introductions of any land that could possibly ever be in Disney, in my opinion. And the Barnstormer was part of that, right? Because really we had the Barnstormer, we had an extra set of Dumbo. That whole circus thing, which doesn't jive for me. But
jive or not jive, I agree with the second Dumbos. They needed them. Okay, I get it. But,
fair.
If there was no Barnstormer, Slinky, I think, would sound better to me. I think that's the tough part that I'm having is that I kind of already have seen something like this. And again, listen, if they make those cars slinky in and out or make you, hey, listen, all for it then, right? Then all of a sudden my opinion changes. And I just, again, in my gut, I just don't see them just plopping that coaster up with no sort of weirdness to it. Like, again, Dwarf Mine Ride, swing cars. I don't think it does too much, but it does bring something unique to it, which excites me, right? The uniqueness of that excites me more than the execution of the Dwarf Mine Ride. And again, I love the theming. I guess what I've found is that for me, the theming and how much work that those people put in to make it look cool brings this huge, enjoyment factor for me. And the way that Slinky is proposed, while it sounds very neat, I don't think we're going to be whizzing past other things. Again, I don't think we've gotten to that point yet. Maybe we will. But I think the theming of the ride and the carts is cool, but there's not enough going around it. And I haven't been through the queue yet, so I don't necessarily know that.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah. So go ahead. Sorry, Trevor.
I was going to say, I think I understand that where your sticking point is with the Barnstormer, because I was trying to figure out in my head, because the Barnstormer is effectively the same coaster as in Disneyland. There's one called Gadget's Go Coaster. And Gadget's Go Coaster is based off of Gadget from the old Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
So that makes it immensely awesomer, though. Because Gadget's awesome.
And that's the thing, is that, that coaster, even though it is the Barnstormer, it's themed like one of Gadget's inventions. So it's got, all the like pencils tied together and stuff like that. And so I was trying to figure out your disdain for the Barnstormer.
Barnstormer's so stupid.
But I think
it's in such a stupid spot in the park, and there's nothing around it, and it's just so stupid.
And I think the problem is that it doesn't really fit with anything else there, because it's Goofy, right? Like, it's supposed to be like Goofy flying the plane kind of thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing else in that area. There's the big top, which they've got the character,
but there's nothing in there. You haven't been in there yet, or have you?
No, I haven't been in there. But like I said, looking at the videos,
it's the biggest waste of nothing. It's so stupid. There's nothing in there, and it's just like you're walking around and like, what is this, and why is it so big with nothing in there? So.
And I think that's going to be the difference, and I think that's really going to what's going to make or break Slinky for you is not how Slinky itself is designed, but how Toy Story Land as a whole is designed. And they've set the bar kind of high with
Pandora.
So we'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we've talked a lot about this, so
yeah.
let's move on to other things. This is a really interesting thing that just came out. So there's a new tour at Animal Kingdom. A new tour that I won't be participating in because it's a little pricey, but it's going to be called the Ultimate Nights of Adventure VIP Tour, and this is at Animal Kingdom. It begins booking on October 1st. It's going to be offered Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. It's about 4.5 hours of a tour, and what this tour is, it's priority access basically to most of the big attractions at Animal Kingdom. So Flight of Passage, River Journey, Everest, Dinosaur, Kilimanjaro Safari, and also a Rivers of Light show. It's also going to be included. It's also going to have a from the canteen. It's going to have the sampler, which has all the different foods in there. So it's actually a decent amount of food, and an adult or non-alcoholic beverage, and a popcorn. And for this tour, it's going to cost $265.19 per person.
Wait, and the discount is not applied for that, right?
So that's not with the with the 15% discount for DVC members, Disney Visa holders, and annual pass holders.
So let's call it what, $230, right? What's 15%? 30 off that, 35, another 5. Okay,
but that's per person.
That's
sure.
Per person.
So let's call it $230. So let's work our way backwards. Cantina samplers, how much? Can we take a guess at it?
I thought I saw that it was like $40 or something like that. It was
fine. So we're okay. Cheap. Yeah. Cool. So we're down to $190.
I might have just made that up though, so I don't know.
Sure. I like when you make stuff up. So we're at $190 now. We got to put a beverage in there and popcorn. Okay, so we're down to like $180 now. Probably it's Disney, right? So $170. All right. So let's call it $170. Really, at the end of the day, to ride these rides. Now, here's my question: it's going to have a cast member, right? That's running this experience.
You're
right?
thinking like a plaid or something like that, right? Like the VIP.
Yeah, like the plaid vests, there's
going to be somebody, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay, and there's a maximum of 25 guests in each group, okay? So now I go, man, I bet you there's going to be some really, really cool people in these groups. I have a roll of the dice chance to meet a famous person in my group, right? Because only famous people
Possibly.
do.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm down at like, $170 per person, and there could be a famous person, and I just saved myself, so... let's see. Flight of the Passage at 3 hours. River Journey an hour. Everything else is worthless because.
By the way, the sampler platter is $75. Sampler platter is
$75. Okay, so now I'm down to like $130.
Yeah.
Let's even call it right because maybe I got an alcoholic drink. So call it $130. $130 so that I don't have to stand on 5 hours of lines. Kind of could be good with that.
It could be worth it.
But it's 5 hours, a 5-hour tour. Yeah.
But you would be on 2 rides for 5 hours rather than 6 rides and food.
Of them. Oh yeah,
and food.
And plus Rivers of Light too, which, I mean, it just means you don't have to waste a fast pass or go and try and, line up to get a decent seat at that, right? So, So yeah, I mean, I guess that's not the worst thing.
And roll of the dice for a famous person.
Yeah, my only thought was I would be more on board with this if I could trade out Dinosaur for another ride on like River Journey or something. Because
well, they're not going to double up, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but there's never any line for Dinosaur.
No.
But you're right.
You need to go on Indy and then tell me if you like Dinosaur.
Isn't it the same track though? It's just different theme.
It is exactly.
Wait, I thought we talked
the same.
about this again.
Yeah,
we talked about it last show.
Wait, but there's a loop. Remember, there's a loop.
No, not that Indy. I'm talking the Indian Disneyland.
Oh, you're talking about the one in Disneyland.
The Indian Disneyland is the exact same track as Dinosaur, but it's like 100 times better in theming. So
I don't know. Dinosaur was scary though. There's something to be said about cool scary.
Oh, Indy's got some scary in it too.
But there's something to be said about bringing your 7-year-old daughter on it for the first time and her losing her stuff because it's scary. Like, that's kind of fun.
Did you get the picture of it? Like, because the picture is always great.
You can't see her in the picture because she's literally in my wife's crotch.
That's where she should be on that ride. They've accomplished their goal on that.
Yeah.
So. But like I said, I mean, yeah, definitely. It's a good lineup of rides. It sounds like a good way to spend 5 hours is it just means, not having to fight the crowds and everything.
The only thing I wish is that I wish there was one thing in there, just one, that was like kind of a behind the scenes sort of thing, right? Like even if you took out Safari and Dinosaur but gave me like an hour behind the scene of Na'vi River Journey, something that was not just a ride, then I would totally be on board for it.
Like maybe combine like the Caring for Giants tour or something that's like a short like thing where you get to see the elephants. You throw that
something
like that. Yeah.
Well, I would hope that if they're offering this kind of thing, whoever's doing the tour guides, I would think that they're not just standing there going, "Come on, let's go to the next ride." Like.
No, there's probably some talking, but there's not anything besides talking that's differentiating this from normal rides. I mean, unless I saw a real Yeti or something. Unless they brought me back to we got to see the real mechanical Yeti. No, they just showed me like here he is. He's broken, but man, is he cool. Oh, okay. Yeah. And, then all of a sudden you get my 265/19.
Joe Rohde famously said a couple of years ago that he said if it's the last thing he ever does, he's going to get that thing fixed. But then he had to walk it back, I think, a little bit because
everyone was holding him to it.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's been holding him to it, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't know how to fix this because we we screwed up a little bit."
It was one of the coolest things, though.
Oh, I saw it.
Really
too.
was.
It was fantastic.
It really was.
But anyway, I mean, so I don't know. Like we've talked about before, the three of us are pretty cool with these things happening, right? These upcharge events, like it's not something we're outraged about. Me personally, I probably wouldn't do it because I'm kind of adverse to lines anyway, so I use other strategies to avoid lines. But I mean, I could see the value in it. I like the math you did, Damon. I think that really broke it down in a good way, So,
yeah, it's I can't get over the per person thing. I mean,
it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And then, by the way, theme park admission not included in that. So you have to still have tickets that day.
I fully expected that.
So, I mean, if I have my annual pass this year, I guess if they were offering this while I was going, would I do this? No, I wouldn't. Even just getting the opportunity for Flights of Passage and River Journey. Yeah, I just...
Think about it, though. You could double up with them. So if you wanted to do Flights of Passage twice, you could fast pass it and then
do the tour.
Yeah, that's true. You could. It's just it's a lot of money.
It is.
It's just a lot of money.
Yeah, I guess I
think about all the football players and the soccer players and the baseball players that you could possibly meet because they're all doing it.
Yeah, I mean, people have money to throw around, right? So.
Yeah.
Or you could just get a bunch of other tourists like yourself, and then you're all...
That is true, too. That's okay.
Okay, so here's a question. This is just, I thought of this just now. If they were to do this at another park, what would you want it to look like?
I wouldn't care because there's only one park that matters right now for these lines.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Well, hold on. What if this? If they did this at Hollywood Studios, after Star Wars Land and Toy Story Land are open, if they had something similar where you could hit up Star Wars, Toy Story, and then Tower of Terror, followed by Fantasmic.
Well, Tower of Terror is easy to get on. So,
that's a highlight for me, so I just went with it.
So what if you went with if they do it for Star Wars, how many rides are going to be in Star Wars Land?
2, I think.
2. To start off, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Start off.
So. Yeah, that's a tough one. They'll probably do it, though. My guess is that they'll probably do it, depending on how many people sign up for this one.
Yeah, I would bet they will, too. And they'll be able to charge a premium.
I'm going to be at the Star Wars Hotel, so I'm going to have special access anyway, so I don't care.
That's the ultimate VIP tour right there. So.
There is no ifs, ands, or buts. They announced that, I'm in. I'm in.
No, for sure.
Yeah. I wasn't in like that on Pandora, but again, I was also there at Pandora. It's not like I was like, I'll wait a year for Pandora. I can't wait a year for anything. So dumb old Toy Story Land is going to open up, next year? And I already have a trip booked. Yeah, I have a trip booked for June. If for whatever reason it's not open when I get there in June, I'll have to go back. I cannot be more than 3 months out of something new opening at Universal or Disney. I just can't. I'm
guessing it's going to be Memorial Day weekend is when they're going to open it. That's just my guess. As long as they stay on schedule, I would think Memorial Day weekend's the one.
If I'm really lucky, there might be some soft openings when we're there. I don't know.
Dude, you gotta pull strings. I told you I got to go on Star Wars early. Did I ever tell you that story?
Yeah, you did. You told. I think you told it on one of them.
So so you're gonna have to do that as well, dude. You just gotta pull rank with them.
We get some press passes. We're gonna try to get some press passes.
I'll channel the Canadian chapter at Epcot, and
there you go.
Yeah,
get the inside. Yeah. Well, so that's a good place to go to. This next part I want to bring up is and I think this is really great. I'm actually pretty psyched about this. I don't know if you guys are, but so. They just updated the My Disney Experience app, and now on the app, you're now able to track your dining credits if you're doing the dining plan. So you can see how many snacks you have left and things like that. And you can also track your room charges, too, which, every time I've ever gone, I try to keep a mental note of all the things I buy, but usually by the time I get to the bill at the end of the trip, I'm like, whoa, okay, spent more than I thought I did.
This is the first time I had 0 room charges. Not one.
You didn't do any room charges?
Nope.
See, I pay for everything.
Not one.
Room charge. Everything.
You know what was interesting? I came with cash. I paid with cash, and you know what I didn't do? Spend more than I had.
That's that's fair.
See, I'm kind of going about it the same way, but what we've done is, and again, being poor Canadian folk, I bought a prepaid U.S. Visa card, and I loaded it with our money for our trip. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually going to use our Magic Bands to pay for everything. So it's all going to get charged to the room. And then before we leave, I'm going to go down and pay off the room charge using our prepaid card.
That's a smart way to do it.
So I get to do this, but then also, I'm kind of doing the same thing.
So what do you do if it doesn't equal the same?
So if we go over, I do have the contingency plan of my credit card, but I really don't want to use that. If I go under, then I have money for my next trip.
Okay.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess for me, I prioritize convenience over anything else. And typically when I go to Disney, I don't put myself on a budget because for me, I'm on vacation. So we kind of have a rule on vacation. If you really want it, then get it. That's kind of our rule. I'm not overboard. We're not spending thousands of dollars on things, but we're not going into the art store at Epcot and buying one of the
$5,000.
Yeah, exactly. That's not it's within reason, right? So if there's a shirt I want and it's $30, I'm going to get it. But, there was a golf shirt I wanted last time I was there that was like $85, and I was like, there's no way I'm spending $85 on a golf shirt. So, for me, I prioritize convenience over everything, and I like doing I don't even bring money to the park. I have my Magic Band, I have my cards, my DVC cards, and usually I don't even bring those. I usually just have a digital copy, and that's it. I mean, I go completely and totally Magic Band. So if they don't take Magic Band, I usually don't buy there. So
It's a good way to send a message.
What's that? Yeah, I know. That's totally true. Because on the boardwalk, if you go to the boardwalk, those boardwalk games do not take Magic Band. They were the few places around Disney that don't take Magic Band for whatever reason. And
do you know how amazingly dangerous that would be?
What do you mean?
Well, sorry, I'm a sucker for
like
video
midway
games and midway games and stuff. So, like, I'll just scan my Magic Band. Like 3 hours later.
Pretty much, yeah. And we actually finally got to do it for the first time, do some of those games for the first time this past trip because we finally wised up and had some cash on us. But you're totally right. It would be really dangerous for me too. So, but yeah, and then the other thing too is for annual pass holders like Trevor, you can actually renew your pass directly through the app, which is a new thing too. So that's a nice piece of convenience for the AP folks out there. So
yeah, but I hope we get more and more stuff inside of MDE that or My Disney Experience that we can manage our own trip, right? Because I think this is kind of where they're going to, is that you don't need to necessarily engage with anyone to get what you want, which I mean it's a double-edged sword for sure, but I'm all for it. Like this combined with the mobile ordering and everything,
exactly,
I'm excited for that.
Speaking of that, are you going to do online check-in, or have you done it already, Trevor?
I've already done my online check-in, but it's kind of actually a moot point for me because they don't ship Magic Bands to Canada.
That's right. So you have to stop at the front desk anyway.
Yeah. So we're going to go to the front desk and all that regardless. But I did it anyway, just to say that I did it.
There you go. Well, at least you could put your room requests and things like that in there. So.
Yeah, we did all that. So
okay, good. Yeah, I was just curious if you had done that or not. So yeah, no, I think those are really positive changes to My Disney Experience. The next thing I want to talk about is really interesting, and this is all stemmed. I just saw that there was an announcement about, and we're going to go to Disneyland here, but that the new Guardians of the Galaxy ride that they just opened, that took over Tower of Terror, they're doing a overlay for Halloween. Now, this is not uncommon for Disneyland because they do an overlay for Haunted Mansion, they do an overlay for Space Mountain at Disneyland. And my question is, I was looking at these things, and as somebody who does who's always doing Disney World, just got a little jealous. So I was like, why don't they do these things at Disney World? I want an overlay of these things. I want the Haunted Mansion to change. I don't know. I don't know if that bothers you guys or not, but I just think it's so cool they do that at Disneyland, and I just wonder why they don't do it at Disney World.
Well, it doesn't bother me as much because I've been on the Haunted Mansion and Space Mountain overlays, so...
Are they not that good? Are you trying to say that it's not that good?
Oh no, it's fantastic. It's weird because so Haunted Mansion is all done up with Nightmare Before Christmas, and they do a bang up job of it. It's the same ride, but it's a bizarro version of the ride. Everything, they do it in such a way that it's not just they just slapped a bunch of extra things in there, like Nightmare Before Christmas things, and called it good. It actually, they replace things, they make it all really fit with the movie. So it's a great thing to see because you're used to going on the Haunted Mansion, you're used to seeing everything that way, and there's just it's like seeing it again for the first time because it does partially depend on how big of a fan you are of the Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm not a huge fan, but I still love checking out all the little details. I loved you can find Zero, which is Jack Skellington's dog, floating, they do some really cool effects that you don't see elsewhere. He's actually in some of the paintings that you see. They've got him in the background and stuff. So.
Yeah, see, it's interesting to me that they keep that at just Disney. I guess I understand that they don't want to copy everything everywhere, but maybe, I don't know, do something else. I don't know. See, that would just make me want to go more during Halloween time.
Yeah, I don't even think about it because in my mind Disneyland doesn't actually exist. It's this fictitious place that Trevor made up that I just am never going to see, nor do I care to see.
But David, if Disneyland didn't exist, then Disney World would have never happened.
No, Disney World would probably be better. See, I look at it like it's resource siphoning. Right? Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, why isn't there a Radiator Springs in Florida? Like, why are we wasting our time? Like, I feel the same way about Universal, too, though, right? So there should only be one. It should only be on the East Coast, and that should be that. Stop wasting resources and time over there in the Hollywood area.
East Coast bias right here. East Coast bias. But I don't know. I just saw those and I was like, those look so cool. And then even the Guardians of the Galaxy one looked really cool. And I'm surprised there's not like one thing that they do at Disney World that's, similar. You think they maybe even do Space Mountain or something like that.
Well, so the one thing I will say is, so when I've gone, and they've gotten better at it, but when I've gone to Disneyland in the past, the one thing that it really does lack on is just the general decorations. Like Disney World, I know when it comes to Halloween and to Christmas, they do very much larger transformations to like Main Street and to the park as a whole, even though they don't get the individual ride overlays. So that was one thing actually that threw me off the first time I went to Disneyland, was that we went, it was about September timeframe, end of September, and we didn't, at the time, we weren't aware of the overlay for Nightmare Before Christmas. This was actually back in like 2004, I think it was, that we saw it the first time. And so like it was like we came around the corner to the Haunted Mansion and it was like, whoa, like what the heck is this? And so it
shocked you the first time you saw it.
Yeah, so they didn't really do a good job of theming the park overall, and I think maybe that's the difference in mentality, is that although actually I guess they're kind of undoing that now, because before it used to be Disney World was better themed overall, and then Disneyland had the individual ride overlays. But one of the things that they're doing this year too in California Adventure is Radiator Springs is getting an overhaul. They're calling it Halloween, and it's all Cars based Halloween stuff. So they're actually like giving the entire land a redo and overlaying the rides at the same time. So I do agree with you. I wish that Florida would do more of that stuff, because I mean, they're talking about they use Food and Wine Festival as a way to get people to Epcot. If they did more of these ride overlays, you would definitely draw more people during the holiday times as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like you said, you're totally right. I mean, if you go to Disney World during Christmas time, every inch of those parks is covered in Christmas. It's amazing. I mean, it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. I've been a couple times during that time of year, and it's incredible. So you're totally right about that. They do a great job of that. So, and I mean, it's not that much of a complaint, but I was feeling a little jealous of Disneyland. But anyway, so moving on here. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I guess I just heard a little nothing.
I just cleared my throat. Sorry.
Okay. It's okay. So just moving on here. This is interesting. And I don't know. This falls under the rumor section, everyone. So this is not confirmed or denied, but usually we get a pretty good idea of what Disney's thinking through surveys. But nobody could seem to verify that this survey was an official Disney survey. So take this with a grain of salt. This is our fun, rumor section. But basically, what the rumor is that Disney has put out a survey about possible new names for Hollywood studios. And Iger a couple years ago let it slip that they were going to rename Hollywood Studios, but he didn't say what the name was going to be. But basically what they're saying is the new theme of the park, instead of the making of the movies and the behind the scenes of the movies, now it's the park would revolve around you being the star and jumping into your favorite movies, television shows, cartoons, more, taking an active role in the story and every experience. So more about, immersion and things like that. So I just want to read the names that are on here, because the names make me think that this is not real.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list too, and
it's just so okay. So Hollywood Studios is still an option. So it's possible they won't change the name at all, which I actually might think is the best option if these are the other options. So the other options are Disney Kaleidoscope Park, Disney Storyverse Park, Disney Hyperia Park, Disney Beyond Park, Disney Cinemagic Park, Disney Legends Park, Disney XL Park, and the letters XL, and then Disney Cinemagine Park. if I was given all the options, I'd say leave it Hollywood Studios.
But like, why do we even care so much what it's called, right? Like, if the rides are still the same, like I could care if they called it, Disney Poop Park. I'm still going.
Well, I think it's more a matter of Hollywood Studios has kind of lost its identity, right? It's
exactly.
Yeah, and so I mean, every other park, even for as different the lands are between them, they do have overall themes to them, and this one park seems the most lost.
Man, I don't know. Animal Kingdom to me seems very lost with Pandora now. I don't think that
they're
fits.
Alien animals, man. Come on.
Well, okay, this is an aside totally. But Damon, if they would have done what they originally planned and made it like dragons and stuff like that, would you have felt like it was still within the theme or no?
I would, because I don't believe. Again, I don't believe there's a lot of animal stuff going on in Pandora.
Well, you ride a banshee, which is a dragon-y type of thing.
And you see all the plant life and animals and stuff on the Navi River cruise, right?
Yeah, that's a stretch for me. That's a stretch.
Anyway.
I guess
they need to rename that now too.
That's an aside.
So Disney's suspension of disbelief park would be a better name, or
yeah, exactly.
We should just name them Park 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then who cares? Right?
Yeah, that would be more simple.
Going to Park 2 today. Okay, see you there.
Can we talk about like the worst name on this list?
Sure. No one say their worst name yet. Hold on. I need to look. Well, actually, all right. I already know what's my.
I got
There's
mine.
two. I got to go two.
Me too.
I got to go two.
I've got mine.
All right, I have my two. I don't think I can.
I'm gonna go Disney XL as my least favorite.
Yeah, I would say that's probably a little bit worse than Disney Beyond the Park, but that one's pretty bad too.
Storyverse is kind of bad too. I mean, they're all kind of bad. I don't. This is like.
So now I'm gonna bring another aside now. So I was at Busch Gardens and I had to do a survey. Do you know that they give out gifts when you do surveys at other places?
Oh, really?
Wouldn't that be nice?
You mean you don't get your sticker when you do your survey at Disney?
That's not a gift to me. Last time I checked.
Well, I mean, I don't know. First of all, these names in general make me doubt the legitimacy of the survey, just because I just feel like they're all really bad names.
I don't necessarily doubt the legitimacy of the survey, but I think what's going to happen is it's going to go through a bunch of different iterations, right? And I think that they'll pull one or two from here and then have another list. I think what they're trying to do is kind of keep
winnow
them
down, right?
Yeah, and they're going to try to keep it hidden as well, right? If this was the final list, we'd probably have a pretty good understanding. It's kind of like when you're watching a show and they throw up, or even a test, and you're like, man, it's not those three, right? Like, it's definitely not those three.
Yeah.
So, maybe we'll get one or two of these will be pulled out for a new survey as well. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, maybe there's a cipher here that we have to decode on what they're actually asking for or something.
Well, it's interesting because I think if you ask any Disney, I mean, there are Disney fans that still call Hollywood Studios MGM. Like, and
we do.
A lot of
we
them.
defingoing do.
I still think of it that way because it's been that long for me. So
exactly, but that's the thing though. So like, if I were going to make a bet on this, I bet they keep it as Hollywood Studios. Or maybe they keep the Hollywood in it and they take out the studios because the studio part isn't
I would think the other way is you take
just
the Hollywood
Disney
out and
Studios.
keep the studios. Disney Studios.
Yeah. I mean, but so if the idea is that they're immersing you into your favorite places and you're the star, like the studios worked before because they were real active studios, right? Now they're not anymore. So I could see them taking out the studios part. I don't know. But if there are any of these names, it's going to be terrible. I mean...
I could get on board with cinema. What is it? Cinemagine or Cinemagic? There's both of them on there.
Both. Cinemagic is not bad. I think that's the least
which one?
bad one.
Cinemagine. I like Cinemagine. I would go with that.
I like Disney Legends Park too. I like Disney Legends Park a little bit.
Cinemagine
seems like a video game or something. Disney Legends Park.
Yeah,
feels like I'm some sort of
like
I don't know.
Rayman Legends.
Seems like I have to beat somebody up in that. Right?
I get the Cinemagine one because they're combining.
I like that one.
Cinemagic and also they're combining. Imagine. I get it, but it's also just kind of confusing. It's like let's go to Cinemagine Park. I could never hear anyone saying that ever. I just couldn't hear it.
Oh, I'm gonna have a shirt made if that's what they do. I voted for Cinemagine.
You're voting
that's
for
what my
Cinemagine?
shirt's gonna say.
Yeah, let's get all these done up as mock-up shirts, and just, you can wear them to the park and really confuse people, because they'll be like,
oh, that would be good.
Where is that?
Where's that park? I want to go to that park.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. These names are just crazy.
I just really hope that whoever came up with some of these got a stern talking to.
Again, see, I don't see it that way. I think it's a funneling. I think it's funneling people down with really bad stuff to funnel them where they want to go.
But
just like have a bunch of bad options and make the good option look better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like if I already have like, a secret like merchandising, theme in my head, well, I can make it pretend like, we had some sort of like, oh yeah, we let you guys pick. Let you pick from crap, and kind of good. And you pick kind of good, surprisingly. I don't know how we did that. That was some sort of marketing we pulled off. But...
sounds like how my wife decided to marry me. Just kidding.
That was good. But wait, we have 3 important things we have to talk about. We're almost at an hour and a half.
Yep.
Flick cards is huge. Forget about what they name the parks.
I don't see this as huge at all.
This is huge. See, you know what it is, though? Again, and Tom, this is just because you have no kids yet, right? Those cards, if one of your kids got them, was like better than, I don't know what. I don't even know what to say it was better than, because there was nothing better than that. Like if your kid got to hold one of those cards in line, man, that was an experience.
It's special.
And see, again...
Maybe we should explain what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Sure. So there's these red cards that were on lanyards that they used to track kind of, the timing of the ride, so how long you would have to wait. And I think it was more like they were just making sure they were correct. I don't necessarily know there was a lot of adjustment going on. They just wanted to make sure, hey, we said 45 minutes, it's 50 minutes, all right, close enough, rather than, hey, we said 45 minutes, it was 2 hours, what were we thinking? So you got this little red card, and you would have to hand it in. Usually got it right when you walked online from one of the cast members right at the beginning at the area where you would either, go for, your fast pass or your not fast pass line where you can ask questions and all that. And then you would take this red card and you would have to hand it in when you got almost on the ride. Usually on most of the rides, it was, pretty much almost when you got on the ride. Some of them were a little further back just depending on what the ride was. But they would hand these cards out randomly. But again, people took it to mean that they were special, right? And there's this whole big movement about, hey, I got this, red flick card, and it was a great experience, even for the adults, but I think more so for the kids. So because they have magic bands and we know that they can track whatever they want, your, eye color, your, what you're going to have for dinner that night and things like that, they decided to get rid of them. But, some people are upset, myself included, because it was kind of a fun thing. Think about it. If you had a 2-hour line and you got one of these, wow, your kid was kind of like, all right, I'm special. Now, it also did lead to, all right, that's my flick card. No, they gave it to me. No, I'm going to punch you and trip you. And it led to a lot of that, too. But you know what? For some reason, that kind of made the line go a little bit faster, too. Huh. So they're getting rid of these. And I think that it's more painful to the people with kids than it would be to the people without kids, because a lot of times the cast member in a group of 5 would hand it to the kid that looked to be on the verge of tears or looked to be, the one that needed some help. And I could be wrong there, but that was always my guess. I was never handed a card. It was mostly my kids that were handed cards.
I guess
we got a fair amount of them too. Has anyone I wonder if anyone's ever gone through them. Yeah, I've gotten quite a few as well. So again, so taking them away while I get that there's no need for them anymore, really, what's the overhead of those cards?
Well, it could also just be like, for more accuracy. I mean, if they can...
What if they just handed out the cards and did nothing with them?
Well, I also wonder how many times people just forgot to hand the card in at the end, and then all of a sudden now they lose...
Not to mention the cost of the card as well, right?
The wait time, Yeah, which, I mean... Or, I mean, I don't know if you guys... I've always noticed that the cast members, like, the little box starts beeping when they need to scan one, and it drives them nuts. Like, I've noticed so many cast members that are so busy doing other things, and then they have to, like, run over to that stupid box
then
and
they should fill it in with something else. There should be something else that mimics that special feeling. It was kind of, like I said, the way I looked at it was something that was, like, a free bonus, right? So all the people that complain about these upcharges and these, all that, like, this was something for them. This was for the masses. Hey, it was something a little bit special that there was no upcharge for, that no one could argue who got it, that sort of thing. I don't know. That's just my thought.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But, I mean, I literally said when I was on my last trip, I'm like, why are they still doing these cards when they can scan my Magic Band as I'm going down a hill on Seven Dwarves and take my picture?
I think that's because of the no kids yet factor.
That's, I mean, I could understand. I guess so. I'm just, like, in my mind, I was like, they have the technology to do that. Like, why are they even bothering with these cards
in the lines too, right? Because, you say that the whole idea of this, or the side effect of it was that it gave, something a little special, something a little extra that they can do, or that people got as they were going into the line. Maybe this opens up for them to actually think about something, cooler that they could do. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's go with that.
Like free T-shirts. So
that's a good.
So again, I'm just waiting
David.
on this, right?
What a transition into your next.
What
topic,
a transition. So again, crazy, right? So I go, Ellen being my favorite ride of all time, nothing else beats it, and they should just shut Disney down because it's over. They had the best shirts, and it said, Ellen's Adventure Extinction 2017 August. Awesome shirt. So I looked around at them and I was like, oh man, I don't feel like buying them. I don't feel like buying them. And then my wife was like, you're not going to buy it. It's your favorite ride. You're going to be mad. Okay, you're absolutely right. So I go to look for one, and of course, all they have left is extra larges. Kind of upset about that. I kind of went back and forth. Oh, could I wear an extra large? But what I said to myself was, Damon, you're going to wear this shirt a lot because you love this ride and it's the best ride. And you want to make sure when people see that shirt and they say something, you go, no, you're wrong. That was the best ride ever, so shut up. So I said, I have to make sure it fits well or I'm not going to wear it as often. So I couldn't do the extra large. I had to do the large. Well, there's no larges left in the park. Okay, fine. So I'm kind of mad about that. I go back to the hotel and I'm like, oh, this is so stupid. I should just order it, but I don't order it. And I decide to order it while I'm on the bus. That was probably the stupidest thing I could have done because I'm literally have a credit card in one hand, holding onto the pole, like with my arm wrapped around the pole because I'm trying to balance myself as I'm ordering it. And then I noticed that the second shirt, the Great Movie Ride, which, again, I'm not in love with it as much as I am with Ellen's, but, whatever, is 40% off if you order both. So I say to myself, sure, why not order both of them? Why not? What's another 40%, So I order them both, put in my credit card, and again, this is no Magic Band, not even the same credit card that's linked to my room, mind you. And then I leave, and they say, you know what? You'll get it in 4 to 6 weeks. And I go, oh, man, that's a long time. And I don't think about it because I say, oh, whatever. But I come back, and again, I use a credit card that's attached to my bank account, right? So I really am just using a debit card at this point. So I'm like, all right, I need to make sure that I kind of coordinate my money so, I don't get beat for $65 or whatever the case may be because, it comes out of my account 4 to 6 weeks later. Okay. So all of a sudden, my wife brings home a package, shirts show up. And I go, wow, that's kind of weird. Like, I don't remember getting charged for them. So, well, okay, whatever. And I open it up, and the invoice says 0 and 0. Amount 0. Well, no,
I actually believe it's
free shirts for Damon.
Golden birthday button.
So I believe it's because of the podcast. Actually, I'm going to say maybe the podcast. I would agree with that. So again, it was ordered though on the 14th with my birthday being the 13th, but maybe they knew that I was kind of, trying to order it on a bus. Actually, and my personal thought is that they were tracking my Magic Band to say anyone that was willing to order it on the bus while standing, almost killing themselves, falling on other people with one credit card in the hand, a phone in the other hand, with like a leg and an arm wrapped around the pole. He must really want these shirts. Maybe we should do something special. Or maybe I'm thinking is that because I'm a top 10, Ellen fan club member of the ride and our special group, that they knew that and allowed me to get it for free and figured they threw in the Great Movie Ride.
Are you the president of the Universe
I am not
of Energy
the president,
fan club?
unfortunately. No, okay. To be the president, you have to probably ride it about 100 times, and I was not able to do that. So I believe some annual pass holders have me beat in that regard. I'm not even on the board. I'm just, one of the founding members. I'm a founding member. That's the best I could bring myself up to.
So free shirts for you. I like to. I mean, if you,
I don't even understand how that happened because again, like everyone was like asking me, well, maybe they're going to charge you later. Maybe they're going to. It says on the invoice 0 and 0. I said, look, if the invoice said what the price was and I didn't get charged, that I kind of feel like, hey, either maybe they'll get me at some point or maybe just something happened, but the invoice says 0 and 0.
Sounds like
I just don't understand.
Work there.
So,
yeah.
That's what I feel like.
That sounds like a clerical error to me.
Don't hate Tom. It was definitely some pixie dust.
If you're getting free stuff because of the podcast, I need to get the hookup here because I want some free shirts.
So I thought that was quite interesting. So again, after that was all done, I will not let the podcast rest until we talk about DuckTales. And again, we don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but I think we all have differing views of this. Now, I've actually seen it 6-7 times now. I've watched it through. But here's the interesting part. After I watched it, and again, I'm not super enamored with it, I went back and bought and read the Carl Barks. And who is the person that took over for Carl Barks on the Scrooge stories? Does anyone know, or are you going to make me look that up?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sure a listener will write us and tell us.
Yeah.
Oh, no. As I look here, I will figure out. So somebody actually took over for Carl Barks, and I ended up reading them. Don Rosa. He took over for Carl Barks. And I ended up reading those after I had seen the show 6 or 7 times. And I feel differently about a lot of things. So again, what did you guys think about the show? And have you seen the original?
So, yeah, of course I've seen the original. Okay. I really like the new show. I like the people that are doing the voice talent. I just like them as actors and other things.
It doesn't break anything for you hearing the dude from Community or
or hearing John Ralphio from Parks and Recreation. It doesn't. And this is unpopular opinion, and what I'm about to say is heresy. I actually kind of think I like the new theme song better than the old one.
I would not agree with that.
I'm on the fence.
I love them both. The new one is just, I don't know. It's got something.
All right, so we have to say this is not going to be spoiler free. There's going to be spoilers in here, and it's only one episode, and I don't think it matters. So again, is it really one episode? It really was 2 episodes.
It was
right?
the pilot. That's what it was.
It was the pilot, and then let's call it a second episode.
It was like the intro to what they're going to be doing, and then they play the theme song, and then they have an episode, right?
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that, because the dragon part of the first episode was 2 seconds, right? Really, at the end of the day, there was not really much going on. So this is how I feel about it. There's a lot of things that I like about it, but I don't think the crux of the show is about the adventure. And again, we've only seen, in theory, 2 episodes, 1 episode, a pilot, whatever we want to call it. I think a lot of it is around some pretty stupid Scooby-Doo type gags. When he opens the door to go to the bathroom and the stupid merman is in there, I literally wanted to punch my TV straight in the middle of it. I was so mad. Because that's such a Scooby-Doo thing, right? Like, to me. And I feel like there was a fair amount of that going on. Like, Glomgold, really, with, like, the cards and, like, oh, you get a discount here. Glomgold is what... It was just so bad. The Minions, but Glomgold...
You're right.
That's not him.
Yeah, he was a lot more used car salesman.
Yeah,
because
he's a billionaire.
Yeah, it just Scrooge is cheap, but
yes,
Glomgold was always competing with Scrooge.
Correct.
But you're right. They made him out more that he was just being cheap for the sake of being cheap. It didn't really share any of his competitive motivation. It was just he was just out to screw with anybody that he could.
Yeah, and the fact that I feel like Donald Duck, I couldn't understand him enough because he's in the show so much. So when he wasn't in the show so much, again, like when I think about Disney cartoons, at least, I feel like I don't have to hear as much Donald, so like it doesn't bother me as much, but like I felt like I couldn't understand him a lot of the time, and that kind of annoyed me. And I get the voice, right? Like, I get that. But for whatever reason, this one hurt me more than, like, even if I was watching, what was it, the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse? Like, I don't know, maybe because Donald didn't talk as much or didn't have such a prominent role. Now, here's the thing. In the original show, he does not have a prominent role at all. But in both, Don Rosa, which, again, is really Carl Banks, right? That's a whole different discussion we could have, and they're both great guys. And Don Rosa did kind of what Carl Barks did. I feel like there was a lot more Donald in the actual paper versions of these, and again, you're reading it, so you don't have to deal with that voice. That again was something that was a little tough for me to get past. But Glomgold hurts me an awful lot, and again, that one scene, it's like, really, there's a merman in the bathroom, like. I'm waiting for him to be like running through like separate doors in the sub with, you know, the monster popping out of door 1 and then door 3. Then that to me was very Scooby-Doo-ish. And again, that ruined a little bit of it for me. I want it to be about the adventure, and I'm hoping that's where we get, rather than these short order cooked gags, is what I kind of felt like that first episode.
You know, I think they overall, I think they limited that a lot. Like, yeah, you're right. That one particular point, it was like, because that was right after, was it Dewey that changed the map?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
so it was kind of, you know, highlighting all the stuff that they went through in like with a montage, and then it was the tail.
But why a montage? Why a montage on what the show should be about? Right? I felt like I was missing that part. The part that I wanted was a montage with a silly bathroom gag, rather than showing me how they got past those things.
But I think it also kind of went in the same lines, like, because I don't think the episode was meant to really, you know, like, they had the overarching story, but it's also the same as the garage scene, right, where they recapped they did homage to a whole bunch of,
there's a lot of Easter eggs,
of the original stuff, and it wasn't meant to, you know, to rehash or anything. I think that, again, being that it was like the starting episode, they chose to glaze over these things because, you know, I'm hoping that the later episodes, they'll actually have some good story arcs that actually branch across longer episodes. Also considering the fact that this is the same team that worked on Gravity Falls.
Yes.
They were, if you watch Gravity Falls, they managed to, you know, there was a couple of episodes that were like at the end of a season that wrapped up things that happened across the entire season. Like they were really good
but they also, remember, Gravity, again, in my personal opinion, Gravity Falls had a start and an end date, right? We knew that from day one. And they had a story in place that was an overall arcing story. I don't think Scrooge is ever meant to have some sort of overall arcing story. Now, here's the thing. So we're in the garage, right? We got the ghost. For the headless horse, again, doesn't that feel very, like, stupid? Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like,
some of the ones that they dealt with in the first one were stupid. Like, there was a whole episode on making fun of Shakespeare in one of their episodes, and it was deliberately slapstick. So I don't think it's that far removed from what DuckTales was.
Well, see, again, like I said, I feel like I'm missing out on the adventure part. I didn't really feel that Glomgold, like, dude, that. Why would Donald Duck work for Glomgold? Let's be honest. Like, I get we're at a cartoon here, right? But why would he work for him?
Well, yeah, I mean, they explained it pretty well.
Because he needs a job.
He just needed a job, and he thought he was applying for an accountant position.
But when he knows it's him, when he knows it's Glomgold, he's on the boat with them,
and they're
caring. Like Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it felt like a very poor episode of Scooby-Doo, and I'm hoping that the next episode brings us back to the adventure part of it, which is what I always enjoyed about that show.
I mean, the other thing to keep in mind, too, is Donald has always been more so the slapstick character, right? He's always, even when they're doing something as serious as you can get, I guess, in a cartoon, he was always the one that was, you know, bumbling around and whatnot. So I don't see a lot of the later episodes, just like the original DuckTales, is that he wasn't that much of a main character. It focused more on Scrooge and the nephews and Webby and whatnot. So.
And it's funny because, again, the original comics, which they are based off of, there's a lot of Donald.
Right.
A lot of Donald in there. And again, for everyone that has not read some of the original work, it's very interesting. There's some pretty bad, you know, slapsticky stuff in there as well, but a lot of the overall story arcs are great, and there's a lot more diversity in the villains. And again, we're literally talking about a pilot and another episode, and that's it at this point. That's all we've seen. The next episode, I think, is late September, right? If I remember correctly.
End of September, yeah.
Yeah, end of September.
As much as I'd love to keep talking about this, we should probably wrap up here. Trevor, you want to get us started wrapping up? And unless there's anything else you guys want to mention really quickly before we go here, because we definitely want to wrap this thing up.
Yep.
We can talk more next time, okay, Damon?
Yeah. Oh, no, I think I'm good.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
I think we covered it. So, all right. So for anyone that wants to get a hold of us, there's a couple of ways to do that. So first of all, our email address is welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. You can also go through our website, which is www.welcomehomepodcast.com. And we're always looking for questions from listeners, comments, basically anything from you guys. We love your feedback. We love hearing from our listeners and engaging with you guys. So please feel free to reach out to us. You can also find us on social media, places such as on Facebook at Welcome Home Podcast, Twitter at Welcome Home Pod, and Instagram at Welcome Home Pics. And when you're on those sites, again, please like us, follow, shares. It helps get us out there, helps other people see the podcast, and so we can keep doing this some more.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, just about any podcast app that you can find out there. We are available on that podcast app, and if there is one that we're not on, please let us know. We'll get ourselves on there right away. And just a reminder to our listeners, as always, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, any opinions that we express on this show are our own. So please consult with a DVC representative, with a cast member, with Disney themselves for more information about some of the things we talked about today. You can find me on PrinceCharmingVacations.com for Disney vacation planning needs. And Damon?
You can find me at bsckids.com, where I'm going to be talking a lot about DuckTales. and these guys are all wrong, so you can just read on the website.
An opinion can't be wrong. And you can find Trevor at Disney World next week.
Yep.
Hopefully, as long as it doesn't get blown away.
If you run into him, I wish he had a shirt. I don't know why we don't have shirts and why Trevor's not wearing a shirt. Someone needs to... If there's anyone listening that does shirt design, please reach out to us.
Yes.
So we can make some
shirts.
We'll
pay you. We want shirts.
We want shirts. So thank you guys again for listening to Welcome Home Podcast. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion, more DVC talk, maybe some more DuckTales talk.
Did we talk about DVC today?
Yeah, it's a little bit DVC.
Okay.
So anyway, see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
We do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl, eating